Okay. So he has a history of being dishonest. So this is a newer video than this one, so I think chronologically the next chapter in the DreamWorld saga is this one. So let's start here for the next piece.
Previously on DreamWorld.
Okay, so DreamWorld is a pretty long story so far, so I'm going to do an update today, but if you've not been following along, here are some cliff notes so you can be caught up a little bit. DreamWorld shows up on Kickstarter along with a bunch of paid ads on websites like Facebook, directing people to the project. Websites started picking up on it, talking about it, sharing very little critical opinion at all. I then picked up on the story and had a look at the Kickstarter, essentially just warning people not to fund it, as it looked like an outright scam. Beyond that, a group of people have made it their mission to dig into every detail about the project and the people behind it, and it's an absolute nefarious shambles. The developers, if we can
I know so much about this guy now,
which is a successful and prestigious startup funding platform, and many sources have claimed that this is via nepotism only, having family in high places help them skip the vetting process, and thus hoodwink venture capitalist firms out of money. They managed to get $64,000 from the public and promised technological advancements well beyond the scope of even 1,000-man industry leaders, but with only 2.5 employees. One of those half employees left very shortly after the Kickstarter was funded, and videos started coming out criticizing the project. And of the 2 remaining employees, one of which is a serial failure in marketing, and the other is a self-proclaimed superstar ex-Google engineer. They also used a sob story for sympathy.
Don't be talking about Gary like that.
About Zach's fiance leaving him due to him losing his job during COVID.
My fiance left me. My best friend Gary left me. My parents left me. We got so excited that I made a Discord channel and it left me.
Which of course neglects to mention that he bought her a fake engagement ring to propose to her at a red carpet event, and then lied to and gaslit her for the better part of a year about it.
See, I'm caught up.
Proving the fact that these 2 cunts are like the Chuckle Brothers minus the intended comedy. So that's the cliff notes of the project so far, but check the links in the video description if you need a full background, because trust me, this is one you want to be up to date on. It's like a fucking roller coaster. So here we are again.
That's what I'm saying.
It's been a few weeks since my last foray into the absolute state that is DreamWorld. Since then, not a whole lot has happened. Unless you count the game launching into their alpha access and being universally panned by even access and being...
Gary put nipples on these things? What the fuck? He had to go in here and custom add these nipples. This is just a stock asset. There are no nipples on this normally. Superstar coder Gary came in here, he said, put some fucking nipples on this. My man, I really think he is a superstar coder. He probably made Google.
Into their alpha access and being universally panned by even the most stalwart of dreamers. So I'm not going to get too deep into the actual game because honestly it's pathetic. It's worse than anyone could have possibly imagined. I thought it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. So I'll direct you to Callum Upton's video for some particulars on the actual game. Essentially,
we just watched it
as follows. The game runs like absolute shit. There's 0 collision on any of the imported 3D models for the city. So essentially they're just images that you can walk through. People who bought the game were told they would be given a plot of land in the game to build on so other people couldn't fuck with them. And you don't actually get a plot of land assigned to you at the start, so they can and you can't really play properly. Other players in the game are a floating sphere instead of an actual avatar. They tried to fix the absolutely terrible
I'm just shocked there's other people in the game.
Fog system, but they didn't make things outside the fog stop rendering. So all they did was add fog, which was a further decrease in the performance of the game, which is hilarious. And then the biggest and best smash hit of incompetence here is, of course, the networking solution that they claimed was revolutionary and would house millions of users on a single server, a feat of engineering that would stun the world, is of course completely fake and doesn't exist. In fact, their networking is so basic and awful that there are 0 server-side authentications, which means essentially a 13-year-old fresh out of his first IT class could essentially absolutely ruin this game for everybody involved by just telling the server whatever he wants to happen, and the server would say, yeah, you're right, that did happen. At this point, we couldn't even call it hacking or a hacker, because it's actually so easy that I'm pretty sure Cheat Engine could ruin the whole game out of the box. And that's
Holy
not all.
shit.
The things that were shown in the Kickstarter trailer, of course, they were all fake. So that absolutely garbage trailer that almost all of us would call a terrible attempt at a game isn't even real. The reality is much worse. The censorship has gotten so bad at this point that their own community members literally say that they live in fear of repercussions if they even say anything, because they ban people without warning, mid-conversation, and they don't even acknowledge that they did it. At this stage, they even have an authentication process on the server, which means you have to get handed access, and the invite shows who invited you. So if you invite people who they don't like, they also ban you from the server for just inviting people. So the worst part about this is if you back the game, the only place to get updates on the game is on Discord, and if you even ask a question or say something that they disagree with, they just ban you outright. They don't speak to you. It doesn't have to be anything serious whatsoever. You get banned, and then you can't even follow along with the game that you paid money for. If you followed along, there was a certain individual who streams and make YouTube videos who had backed the game heavily and did the only ever interview with Zach and Gary, asking them softball questions and essentially being there as a prop to let them spew their nonsense to the world. He has since then played the game and of course concluded that he was out of his mind and everyone else was right, which is something that will eventually dawn on each and every one of the people that have backed this game and that think that this game's realistic. Now, talking about the moderation of the server, it's gotten so bad that even the child mod team has revolted, with most of them leaving. And yes, you did hear me correctly. If you're new to the story here, the child mod team. Basically, Wolf, which is Zachary, went into a bunch of Minecraft Discord servers to advertise his game to his target audience. The only people gullible enough to actually look at this game and see a potential success. Besides some investors, of course.
What? Hold on, I want to read some of these. This guy actually had children running his game's Discord? Is that even, like, legal? Would that count as child labor? Unpaid labor from kids to monitor your product's Discord and manage it? That's such a weird gray area. What the fuck? Yeah, 100 to 250K. Oh my god. Thanks to the Prime McChicken fan and the resub Rex.
Got him! Got him!
Well, that mod team, which consisted of a 14-year-old boy, a 16-year-old girl, and a 20-something-year-old, basically have all up and quit or gone on extended breaks. There's a bunch of screenshots floating around of mods and community members. You know, the handful of people who, for whatever reason, thought this game was the real deal, saying they're scared to even speak in the Discord anymore because they're just watching people be banned for literally no reason. At this stage, Gary and Zach just see names that they recognize from YouTube comments and ban the people. I've got people on my own Discord in my own community who have joined the server just to keep an eye on what's going on, just to read things. And I don't know how, but they either know they're from my community or they've maybe seen them on a YouTube comment or something, and they've just been banned. They've never spoken in the Discord server. So real quick, the story about me getting banned from the server is kind of funny, and it also shows that the people running the game are actual reprehensible human beings. So when I was banned for just asking a question in the server, Wolf, which is Zachary, essentially went around for multiple days claiming he didn't know who banned me and why I was banned, but he would look into it. I've since then had ex-mods of the server confirm that they were in voice chat talking when Wolf banned me, and he confirmed that I was banned by Wolf. And then instead of owning up to it and saying, yeah, I banned him because, you know, he made videos that I disagree with and that are, you know, talking bad about our game, which is a perfectly valid thing to do, by the way. If he wanted to ban me for making videos about the game that he disagrees with, entirely within his rights. But instead of just saying that, he instead said, oh, I don't know who banned anyone, I'll have to look into it.
He didn't want to beef.
Put a bunch of flack on these children that they'd put in places like their barrier between them and the community, because people thought that these children, because they're children, were just banning people for no reason, when in actual fact it was Wolf and Gary. So not only did they recruit these kids,
we don't know about Gary,
giving them a job eventually, which is obviously never going to happen, but they then also put the kids in the front line and let them get shit on for no reason when it's things that they themselves did.
64K is pennies compared to some Kickstarter scams. These YouTubers are milking this for their own content. What? So just because in comparison to some of the other bigger Kickstarter scams, this is no longer an issue because it's only 64K? Disagreed entirely. It's not the biggest Kickstarter scam in history, but it's 64K that came out of people's pockets that they believed in a project that didn't exist. Just because it's not a ton of money comparatively to other projects doesn't mean it's no longer important and shouldn't be talked about. And to the second point, it is good content at that.
Okay, so on that note, let's take a little look through the keyhole of Zachary's career. Since I had some time recently to do a little
Thanks,
bit of
Resub,
digging,
Big Bill,
I got
and
inspired.
Architect in the Prime
This is the guy who
Basic.
calls himself a serial entrepreneur, which to
That sounds
me
pretty cool,
reads
Rocco. I'll
as a
check it out.
serial
Thank you.
failure. If you call yourself a serial anything without actually ever having success in doing it, then you're basically just saying I'm really good at thinking of ideas and then failing to execute them. And while I do think failure is a required ingredient in the path to success, I don't think I'm delusional enough to brag about being a serial failure on my LinkedIn. Zachary, however, is. His first job was a freelance web developer for JB Matheson, a investment firm where he apparently built their website in 2015 for 3 months. Funnily enough, you'll notice that JB Matheson has a familiar name attached to it as a partner, John Belloc. Definitely no relation to his best friend and co-developer on DreamWorld, Gareth Belloc, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with handing your relative's friend a job, but if he did design this website, which there is zero indication he did, it's actual garbage and looks like it was airlifted straight out of the 90s. Moving on, he worked as a, quote, marketing consultant for 4 months at a company called Lightning Marine Drives. You almost can't find any information about this company online besides the registration and a Facebook page with 0 likes on any of their posts and a single Google review. The website hasn't operated in years, and when it did, it had almost 0 traffic, so I can't really comment much on this one. But I'm going to guess if he did build their advertising campaign, it's hardly a wonder you can't find any of the advertising for the campaign. Next is marketing and project manager for a company in New York called Crystal Glass and Mirror, where Zachary built the whole social media suite across 1 year and 5 months. You can see his happy little face here at the company on their Facebook page, which is of course part of the social media suite that he put together for them. And it has 0 interaction, very little followers, and no other online presence as far as I can find aside from a website. So he did a pretty good job here for 1 year and 5 months, growing the social media of the business. Amazing job again, Zachary. This is where he really...
This guy is not a fan of Zach.
This is where he really earns his stripes and becomes the entrepreneur that he always knew he could be. Introducing Courageous.
DVV.
So
and thanks to the bits lame or lamented and lukewarm.
Freshman year of college. And I
don't want to get DMCA'd. I don't know what's about to play. Is this laser tag? Was sports? Looks like the little vest you wear at laser tag. Bin 10 device, the Omnitrix.
Whatever shitty music he was listening to at all times by designing a speaker that mounts to his chest. But that's not even the best part.
Hey there, my name is Zachary Kaplan.
What's up, Zach?
I'm the CEO of Courageous Incorporated. So I think I stuck 2 old speakers.
Thanks to Prime, Nevermind, and Resub Worski.
And I quickly realized that whenever I'd stop at any intersection, like 5 people behind me would all sort of like stop with me and like look around like they didn't know me. And I realized that they were running with me because they really liked the music, and they weren't.
That never happened.
Probably because they also realized that it was a safety hazard.
So obviously, as soon as everybody noticed him, noticing them, they all stopped and clapped, and somebody handed him $100 bill. But of course, this idea is so revolutionary, and it would take the world by storm. So what of the success? 8 years and 4 months later, 113 Twitter followers, and the peak of his product's popularity was sending a unsolicited gift package full of toys, including a letter and a Courageous, to a popular YouTuber called Pro Syndicate. Since then, of course, it's all been downhill. No engagement, no followers, no sales of the products, just pure disappointment. He did, of course, run a Kickstarter for his product at one point. He is very good at running Kickstarters, apparently, which got funded.
Oh,
and of course,
Jesus.
mysteriously got cancelled. Almost as if his friends and family put money into it, and then when no one else funded, he cancelled the project so that they didn't incur any fees. 8 years so far, and this product hasn't shipped, and the website still lists them as being unavailable. Funnily enough, this isn't even the worst business that this fucking Melvin's tried to start. Let's take a look at the absolute straight fire clothing brand that he started. March 2018, introducing Baron Brand, another business to add to the pile. As you can see, some absolutely fantastic designs here. I mean, if I was 13 again and just saw my first episode of Naruto, I'd probably be super
Well,
into
hey,
this.
Naruto,
Perhaps if
Naruto.
they sold it in like a button-up shirt instead of a tee, I could then wear it and ask my friends to exclusively call me by my new name, Fireball. Honestly, though, it looks like something a middle schooler would sketch up as an idea, but this is by a full-grown man, and this is his best attempt at a business venture. He also, of course, designed
doesn't
the
look
website,
good,
which is serviceable,
per
but by the
se.
standards of most people would seem completely amateurish. And then, of course, we get to present day, where he is graduated to taking money from children and
Execute
people
some
without the
catfish and
faculties to
some shams.
realise that this is a scam. What's actually really weird and or funny is that right
Is
after
it
the
tier one
Kickstarter
Jeremy
ended,
Smith?
right after they took that $64,000 from people, Zach went on holiday for quite a while. I think it was around 10 days. And, of course, he had to get that post-Kickstarter success vacation in there, right? But he did reply to Discord frequently while away. And then starting on May 13th, he just went absolutely radio silent for about 9 days. He didn't post a single message on Discord. The only people posting at that time were the couple of remaining child moderators, who have, of course, left by now, and Gareth, who was just straight banning everyone he could. And then, of course, May 21st, Zach or Wolf is back. Unfortunately, at this stage, most of the mods had up and quit, and they'd started leaking screenshots of the creepy things that go on in the Discord. Now, I won't outright say that this is like a smoking gun in terms of behavior, but whenever I see a full-grown man making promises to cover the expenses of a 16-year-old girl moderator and promising work for them while they're making jokes about him being her dad, it's just weird, it's creepy, and even
Who
if
did
this
this?
is all that there is to it, it just makes me feel off about the situation. I have to question if this is being said like out in the open in a mod section where multiple people
Oh
have
God,
access
not
to this that are
Gary.
not paid employees or anything like that. What's
Gary!
being joked about in private between these adults that are in a position of power over these literal children? You can see here these people are dangling the idea of jobs at their two-man scam company to these kids. It's just fucking weird, honestly, and that's just on the surface level, not seeing any private interactions. Whichever way I slice this, I just come back to it being absolutely gross behavior, even if there isn't any actual crazy shit being said behind
Thanks to the
closed
resub
doors.
Audwin and the
So there we
two
have it.
slow
There's an
ride.
update on DreamWorld. This is a story that won't be over anytime soon because these guys are actual full-time clowns. There is now mainstream game press getting involved, journalists asking them for comment and interviews, to which they of course claim to be incapable
Yeah,
of doing so.
Caleb
as
brought
they
it up
just
to
don't
me.
have the
That's where I
time,
heard it from. He brought it up
despite having
today.
the time to sit on Discord.
He
and
doesn't even
instant
go on the
ban
internet. He doesn't have a
anyone who
fucking
asks any
computer, and he
questions
heard
they
about
deem
it.
to be too difficult to answer. Of course, they've got the time for that one. They've got the time to go on vacation for a week post-Kickstarter success, but 10 to 30 minutes to speak to a journalist and get their side of the story out there, get on the record and set things straight. Nah, ain't nobody got time for that one. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my socials in the video description, our Twitch, Patreon, all those good things. Leave me a like, a comment, subscribe, everything that helps me out in the algorithm because I really do appreciate it. It helps more than you can know. And hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Stay safe out there. We out. Peace.
This is so deep. Holy shit.